the first episode of the All Day Isles podcast. First episode here. Our special guest is Connor. Connor, how are we doing?
Oh, good. I'm happy to be here. Yeah, I'm ready to talk some trades, and obviously it's been an eventful day in the trade market, and obviously been refreshing Twitter a lot today. But yeah, hopefully something goes down soon.
So, as we both know, and hopefully some hockey fans know if they come into here, I know we just started, but as you know, that the Connor Garland sweepstakes for the Islanders have been heating up. What you first saw that? What was going through your mind?
Um, see, like the thing, I like him as a player. Now he's having a disappointing season, but overall, I like him as a player. I think he'd be a very solid third line player, but at the same time, the one thing I didn't like was the contract going into next season. It's gonna be a 6 year, $6 million contract with a full no movement clause the first 3 years. So that scares me a little bit, especially with how Lou Lamoriello did a lot of his contracts, like Scott Mayfield, Pierre Engvall, etc. So I, I was I opposed to it? No, but was I so excited for it? Not really. But obviously, it's not official yet. And if it does happen, hopefully the return is not too bad.
You mentioned Pierre Engvall, and I it came to my mind that they signed Engvall to an absurd deal for absolutely no reason. I don't even think he's played like a season length since he signed the deal. Do you think Darche would throw Engvall in any sort of a deal, whether it's for Garland or even for like a Cairo or a Thomas?
See, I think obviously if he were to do that, it'd just be for primarily the cap space dump. But at the same time, he's not going against the cap right now, because they could easily put him on LTIR. So I wouldn't think so. I think that at least wait till he's fully healthy, and then we'll go from there. And maybe I can see that maybe being this summer or next season.
What do you see the return for Connor Garland being?
So obviously, Stefan Rosser put out that there could be more, but obviously he said it wasn't Tyler Myers, and he recently said it wasn't Brock Besser. So I mean, unless it's like Elias Persson or O'Connor, then it's gonna be probably just Connor Garland if the trade does go through, which we don't know if that's gonna happen. I would probably expect a second and maybe giving up a all right prospect, maybe like an Xavier Valou or something like that, maybe.
Yeah, I think I didn't see. I did see. Um, they said no to Stephen Rosser said no to Tyler Myers. I didn't see about Brock Besser. I did see that they didn't. They he said that they are not in on Evander Kane. Where did you see the Brock Besser one?
So he was replying to like a comment on Twitter, and I like saw I came across this guy said I don't know if you do you have any intel if Besser could be part of the deal, and it says definitely not Besser. So um I mean, obviously, I feel like it makes sense. I feel like again, unless it was going to be some like Miko Ranton type deal where it was Taylor Hall originally going to Carolina, but then it ended up also being Miko Ranton, which I didn't see it. But I think really it's probably just gonna be Connor Garland again. The trade has to go through before anything could happen, but I think that's what it would be.
Saw that Stephen Rosser said that that the Bruins were reportedly sending it a bigger return because David Pagnotta said the Canucks continue to navigate the Garland talks. Bruins seem to re-engage with the talks in a package that includes Poteris or Levi. So do you think if the Islanders can find a way to possibly get a bigger return, whether it's maybe like multiple players or multiple picks, like what do you think a deal would be if the Islanders were to send multiple people to the Canucks for just Connor Garland?
good?
Yeah. Did you hear my last question?
No.
So the Bruins seem to have a potential bigger return, which involves multiple players possibly, but like bottom six players. If the Islanders were to counter their offer or like try to get a better offer for the Canucks for just Connor Garland, do you see like two or three players that could realistically be traded for just Garland?
Um, I again like I'm gonna go higher than the first round pick. I mean, maybe if it's a second, a, a decent prospect like Xavier Valou, he's having a good season, and maybe like a Duclair type guy. Maybe I'll go there if that's the difference. If they want Duclair, if that's the difference. But again, wouldn't go for a first round pick. I just don't. First round pick, especially with the stat. I know it's not going to be as stacked of a draft class as we thought it was, but it's still going to be pretty stacked. And the first round pick is a first round pick. So,
Yeah, of course. The only way I could see the Islanders giving up a first round pick to the Canucks is if something else is added to the package, like a Elias Pettersson or a Brock Besser. If Tyler Myers is added to that, I still don't see the Islanders giving up a first round pick. Tyler Myers top he still won't be the top guy for the Islanders, obviously, because they have Schaefer, Ellis. Um, but I am curious and interested, and I would be fine with it if the Islanders just gave up their not like gave up for no reason, but like traded away their first round pick from the Avalanche because you know the Avalanche are good this season, and if they go for a cup run, that they'll have like the latest first round draft pick. So if they go for the Canucks, they would go for Besser and Garland or Pedersen, and maybe even if they go for Cairo and Thomas, like I wouldn't mind if they traded that pick away.
um, I would say most of the players you just said. I think the only one I wouldn't spend a first round pick on is Garland. I think Brock Besser, sure. I think Elias Patterson, sure. I would say definitely Robert Thomas and definitely Jordan Cairo. Those are the four guys I would definitely. You would have to use a first round pick. I think a deal like I think similar deal with Thomas and Cairo. I think they'll honestly be pretty similar. I know the Blues originally wanted 3 first round picks, and let's see. I don't think that's gonna die down eventually. Um, but I really think for the most part it's gonna be first round pick and then a Collageman, something like that. But I don't know. I heard reports that Collageman may be untouchable. So if that's the case, you're just not gonna trade a prospect if that's what the Islanders are thinking. Which I'm not saying they're wrong. I personally would stand pat. I understand that they want to reward the players, and they did. They got Palat. He's been all right. He's been good defensively, just not offensively, which I don't know what you can't really expect him to be great offensively. And Carson Soucy, who what probably had his best game as an Islander, this past game against the Panthers, I thought he played very good. Not just because he had goal, he laid Lundell out and a couple other key plays, but yeah, I mean, I think if best case scenario, the Islanders stand pat. They keep Aitchison, Eklund, Eiserman, all their prospects. They have probably a top 7 future in the NHL right now. So
I do think, like, just my personal opinion. I do think the Islanders should keep the only untouchable. Really, is Kayshawn Aitchison. The only way I could see him going to the Blues is if we get both Kyrou and Thomas in a trade. But if you're just getting one of them, especially Thomas, I think you should uh, definitely don't trade Kayshawn Aitchison. Like I get it. You want to keep Cole Eiserman too because of the goal scoring, but now that we have a Barzell who's been good, we have Horvat who's been good, and if we get a Cairo or a Thomas or a Garland, and you don't trade Eiserman away, I don't see why you would even need Eiserman at that point because all of these guys are now starting to put these points. But now you have the other way that Palmieri's hurt, and if Eiserman plays next year, I don't think he will. Uh, like, what are you going to do without Palmieri? And that's another reason why I do think the Islanders should make a trade to get somebody that could potentially be a decent goal scorer for the rest of the season. Is if to replace Kyle Palmieri. let's see who's in here. Anybody have any questions in the chat? As trade deadline approaches this Friday, the Islanders make any moves?
Ryan, can you hear me?
You there, Connor?
Hello? Hello? All right.
Um, I just don't see why the Islanders would trade Eisman yet, only for the fact that if he does, for some reason, play next season, he could be a fit to replace Palmieri, at least for like the first 15 games of the season or whatever, how long he's out for.
He's still another at least a year away. You can tell he has a skill which you can't teach. The goal scoring ability is unbelievable, but it's more than just that. He needs to work on being an NHL player, which is more than just scoring goals. You saw with a lot of our guys, Wallstrom and Kiefer Bellows. I think the main problem with those guys, well, especially Wallstrom, he wasn't given the chance to prove himself. You saw he would average like 10. He would average like Mark Gacko minutes of ice time. So especially with how good Wallstrom is, and his goal scoring touch was unbelievable. Probably the best shooter on the team at the time when he was on the team, but he wasn't given the opportunity. I think that's something what this organization does very well, especially specifically Patrick Waugh. I have to give huge credit to him because you know obviously Schaefer going in, you wouldn't expect him to play the 24 minutes per game of ice time he's getting. But the first game was it was like 17 minutes. The second game, 26 minutes, and then it was up from there. I mean, he's been playing consistently 25 minutes every night. He has been unbelievable. I have run out of words to say about this kid. He is unbelievable, but and I think honestly, Schaefer's forcing Waugh to play him. I mean, the way he's playing, it's like Cale Makar. I feel like I'm watching Cale Makar. I don't think that's ridiculous to say. He will be the best defenseman in the league in like 4 years, probably less. Honestly, he is ridiculous. What he's doing at 18 is unbelievable. And I know we kind of just switched here, but we have to talk about this kid. He's unbelievable.
Um, do you think at some point in like the next 5-10 years, Schaefer will be the number 1 defenseman in the league?
Oh yes, I mean it's not if, it's when. I mean he like you could tell me like in 2 years he will be, and I wouldn't even be shocked. He is ridiculous. I think he's just a couple years away from being the supreme best defenseman in the league, but he will be there, and once he's there, he will. I mean he will be there for basically until he gets to his 30s, and he's going to be 30 in 12 years. So we got a long time until we can work, and even in the 30s, I mean, he's gonna. It's crazy. I mean, I know. You said the same thing about Tavares probably, and obviously you know how that ended up. But it's crazy to think Matthew Schaefer is going to be on the Islanders for the next 20 years. 2 decades of Matthew Schaefer on the Islanders. It's ridiculous. You told me a year ago that Matthew Schaefer would be on the Islanders. I'd be like, yeah, you are crazy. Because first of all, the Islanders were in the playoff hunt, and even if they missed out there, I thought there would be like they would have the 10th pick like they were supposed to. So overall, it's been unbelievable experience watching Schaefer, and yeah, we got 20 more years of it. So
I also think a year. If you would ask me if the Islanders had, a year ago, if the Islanders had the first overall pick, who do you think they're taking? I would have said James Higgins
I agree. I totally agree. That's a good point, actually. Yeah, totally agree.
because he was at some point last year or a year and a half ago. He was the number 1 guy,
Yeah.
and it was just a perfect. I want to just a perfect, whatever you want to call it. That James Higgins was the number 1 guy, but then by the time when the Islanders got the first overall pick that day, it's like James Higgins is not even a top 3 guy anymore. Now it's Misa, Schaefer, Martone. Um, I don't know. Do you watch the YouTube like docu series for the Islanders?
Oh, I mean, it is unbelievable. I mean, that is. the way the media this year, the Islanders media has been unbelievable this year. The way they put Schaefer out there, I think Darche was talking about the other day, where he says he gives a lot of the popularity of Schaefer that Schaefer's gotten to the media. He gives a lot of credit to them because they have put this kid out there. I mean, they're making edits of this guy like twice per week, but not even that. The docu series is one of the smartest inventions, advancements that the Islanders have made with media because that brought the fans closer to the team, and you see like what happens behind the scenes, and I think the players love it as well. I mean, you see the players talking into the camera after a win, a huge win. So overall, I think it's a very cool idea from them. I'm happy. I was always asking for them to try it out, and they did. And it's going really well. So of course, I love watching it. And the way, and I think it's. I was scared about how they're going to structure it because I don't trust the Islanders media because they haven't, especially with Lou Lamoriello, like he would like kind of stop them from doing specific things. But Darsh lets them do what they want to do. It's unbelievable.
Oh yeah, and I like how you said you were concerned about the structure of it. The way they do it is so perfect. They like what was the first episode was like the draft, like going into the draft combine, them interviewing the draft prospects. Um, the second episode was the draft and like whatever happens after the draft, and then the season starts. I could not wait for the episode to come out if there is a trade deadline episode. Somebody with Matthew Darche, whether it's at his house or in his like office, like on the phone with keys within the next couple of days. Like if a Connor Garland trade were to go through, is there going to be a docu series episode where it's behind the scenes how the trade went down? And he also said bring the fans close to the team. I just feel like ever since Matthew Darche came in, the team has been closer together, like better than ever. Like we had the team out on his pond in his backyard in Minnesota, all like, their day off having fun. It's just gonna suck. Even I know people have their things about Scott Mayfield and have their things about Carson Susie. I know he was good on the team, but if anybody goes from this team, it's just gonna stink for them because they've got so close this year that if anybody goes, it could ruin, like not ruin the locker room, but it would take a big hit, like morale wise.
Yeah, I mean, you saw it with Nelson. I mean, everyone was sad Nelson left. Nelson was, I mean, that was probably the like saddest interview I've ever watched. The interview of him against the Jets after they won. He knew it was his final game because it's the final game before the trade deadline, and he's like crying. He's like basically crying, like tearing up during the his interview, and that really I think affected the locker. I mean, again, not like in that sense, but just like wow. I mean, Brock Nelson, who's been on the Islanders for what, like 12, he was on it for 12 years, 15 years, something ridiculous like that. I mean, he's basically been on the Islanders since I mean I can remember. So it was yeah. I mean, so that definitely leaves an effect. But also, I do want to say the in episode one it was crazy to see. Like there is evidence from the Islanders that they went. I think it was they did as it's like kind of prove that they did try to go for Higgins. Because it's very clear they're like we want Higgins. I mean they made it really obvious in episode one they wanted to trade for Higgins, and like you said, they were showing the phone calls of the Islanders trying to talk to Don Sweeney about getting a trade going to get to because they kind of felt like Boston College Higgins is going to go there. And obviously, I thought what was really funny was that Boston heard Darsh being like, "Yo, we want to trade," and then they're like, "No, we're not going to trade." So yeah, I think it's really cool. Hopefully, if there is something that happens, I assume would see the behind the scenes of the calls and all that stuff. But that's also we'll see what happens. There's still a lot of time till Friday, and I mean things change on a dime. We all thought Connor Garland was coming here definitely. Now it's also the Bruins, so we'll see where that goes. And I would assume we'd have a clearer answer tomorrow. I think also Darcy's going to step out. I do be this out, and then you can talk. But I think Darcy's going to step out once he. If this is going to take too long, he's going to step out and look elsewhere because he's not going to spend like 3 days on this one Connor Garland guy. I mean, he's all right. It's not like this is like some Miko Ranson of last year. It's Connor Garland. So if he's not going to get a sure answer in the next, I think, next 24 hours, I think he's pulling out and he's going looking at Cairo and Thomas, which he already is. So I honestly think, I know it's kind of a prediction, but I think I'm gonna say right now, I think Kyrie's gonna be an Islander.
I think so too. And the you talked about the trade talk for Higgins in the first episode. I want to talk. I want. Who do you think won the Islanders Canadians trade?
Okay. Yeah. I think it's kind of like the Brock Nelson trade as I think it was win-win for both. Um, I think Dobson had a good season for Montreal. Still not great defensively. He was on for all four goals against when he played the Islanders. Obviously scored two goals, but no, I think but Dobson have a good season. I mean, still doesn't Schaefer has more points than him, so that's good. But no, but seriously, um. Yeah, I think it's a win-win. I think the Islanders when they get Hyman, who's slowed down, hopefully can get going. But I think that's more of a development thing. I think we didn't see the real like that. Hyman was not like it was kind of like a early growth spurt, real quick, like just for a second, and then a couple of games, and obviously that fell down a little bit. But I think Hyman's an interesting piece. I do like Hyman since his shot is so ridiculous. If he just can just get it on net, and then Kashan Aitchison, Victor Eklund, who was I saw him in top 5 of mock drafts. I thought I had him going like 7 or 8, something like that. I think I had him going to the Bruins. But yeah, I don't know how he fell all the way down, but he did. And obviously, Kashan Aitchison, I love Kashan Aitchison. I have one of the best OHL defenseman seasons in OHL history. So, I think it's a win for both. I think the Islanders get two great prospects, and Emil Hyman, who's I think is more of a project. I think Darche really likes him. Wow really likes him, and I think all the Islanders fans love him. So, um, yeah, we'll see. But I think maybe that's still gonna be it's gonna take a couple years to see how that transpires. But I think right now it's a win-win for both.
Yeah, 100%. Dobson it's just crazy to me how Dobson scored 2 goals against the Islanders and still had a -2. Like that's just shocking to me. And I feel like the picks, Eklund and Aitchison, are like you could not go wrong with those 2 picks. Surprised they both fell to 16 and 17. Um, but I want to shift gears over to the free agents for the Islanders or the contracts that are expiring. I want to see out of these 7, who no 8, who you think the Islanders should keep or let go. So Anders Lee, do you think the Islanders should keep or get rid of Anders Lee? So this offseason.
Got anything, Frank?
Oh yeah, I agree. Yeah. It's like every couple minutes, like stop, like I can't hear you, and then it works again.
Yeah,
Um,
I just said to keep Pajot and Lee.
I think you should trade Lee because I feel like he's been playing well, and I just feel like um, if he just keeps playing well, it could bump up his trade value a bit. And if I would be honest, I think I'd rather a Cairo or a Robert Thomas over an Anderson. So if he plays well tomorrow and a trade works out for Cairo, I honestly, if Lee was in that package, I would be very sad because He's been with the team and he's always been good with us. I just feel like if it needs to, I think it might just have to be done. And also, I feel like it just would bring more goal scoring because he does score goals. Obviously, there's goals in three straight, but there are sometimes where you can just go on a big drive.
I mean, yeah, I agree. Like I was in the same. What you were saying was what I was saying to start the season. Um, because I literally thought before the season even started, before we started 0-3, I thought we were going to be a bottom 7 team in the NHL. I went into the season thinking we're a bottom 7 team in the NHL. We got accepted. I'm happy with it. I'm fine with it. We'll get a Stenberg. We'll get a hopefully top 5 pick, and then we'll start rebuilding or get or going up on the rebuild. But surprisingly, it's been a magical season. And I think what I was saying about rewarding, I think that's a reward. What's his Darche wants to give to the his team. I mean, so keeping your captain, keeping Pajot, 2 guys that without those guys they would have not won. They would be 0-3 coming back from the Olympic break. So I mean, they've proven to be key players, especially I think the Olympic break has helped a lot of players. Obviously, guys like Schaefer, Lee, Pajot, um, didn't help guys like David Riddick, but I mean, it is what it is. But overall, I think it's helped a lot of the guys on this team for the most part. I mean, Carson Soucy's looked pretty good the first 3 games back, so hopefully that can keep going and he can. Because he before when we first traded for him, he wasn't playing great, but these last 3 games he's been playing much better. And the Florida game, it's probably his best games in Highlander.
I do think the Carson Susie deal. Uh, I personally didn't. I liked it, but at the same because it proved that Darche would do stuff other than Lamelo, but didn't really do anything. The only really thing he did was for that trade and getting Duclair. But what was I doing with this? I was gonna say something and I lost it. Oh, I just felt like it sucked because we already had Boquist, and I honestly think Boquist is a better defenseman other than Susie, and I'd rather Boquist playing over Susie. So I feel like that trade kind of just meant really nothing because I feel like you already had Boquist like scratch every game, and you didn't even give up a defenseman for Susie. So I feel like you really didn't even need to trade for Susie because you already had Boquist, who has been ready to go. And he's looked solid in every game he's played.
I mean, it's such a low risk, low reward. I mean, so I don't mind it. I thought again he's starting to play better, and that's good for us. Especially, I don't mind him. I can live with Carson Soucy playing 15, 16 minutes a night. Scott Mason, on the other hand, yeah, whatever. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think Darce has done a good job as a general manager. Obviously, it's a little too early, but he's had a good start to the general manager, and hopefully he can keep it going with going into the trade deadline. Hopefully, makes some good trades. If he does, I'm fine with standing pat as well. I think that's kind of what Darce is saying. Like, I want to reward the players without just ruining our whole franchise. So, no, I think there was not been one trade where I disagreed on Darsh. I think this would have been the first one I would have been a little iffy on. But and also the Palat deal. I know not people for fan of it, but also we basically got Carson Soucy for free because we got the 3rd round pick we gave back or whatever. So it really helps. So it was really, if you think about the Palat and Soucy deal, it was just Carson Soucy, Andre Palat, and a 3rd round pick, or Carson Soucy and Andre Palat for an upgrade in the 3rd round for Maxim Siplikov, which I think that's a pretty decent deal. I know Palat's worth a lot, whatever, $6 million, but it expires after next season. So just get through the rest, and he's been good defensively. So I think that's pretty important. I don't think people understand the importance of how being good defensively, and I think that's why maybe Pajot's underlooked a bit, which not in the NHL but by fans. But Pajot is a guy, I love watching Pajot just because, he's produces offensively. I love watching him on the penalty kill. And he's just probably one of the most consistent two wet players on the Islanders. I mean, I can't think of anyone that's as consistent as he is, really. I mean, sometimes I'm saying the defense is always consistent. The offense maybe, but that's just normal. But the defense, he is it's not like, oh, he goes on a stretch, he's good defense and he just can't defend anymore. He is I mean, throughout his whole 5 6 years downers, he has been such a solid defense. Solid's an understatement. He's been very good defensively. I think that's why Darche wants to keep him because you need players like Pajot if you want to make a playoff run, and I think that's what they're going for. They want to go for a playoff run without just trading Aitchison, Echo, and Eiserman. All these guys. So that's probably what I would assume that's what Darche was thinking right now.
Yeah. And we'll be talking about the coming back to the Olympic break. I want to take a couple minutes here to talk about the Olympics. How fun of a whatever 2.5 weeks was that for you?
Yeah, obviously for most of it, there it was February break, so I was home for a lot of it, especially, uh, I got yeah. I mean, that was just that was amazing. It was incredible. I mean, I think the preliminary rounds were kind of boring, but the knockouts did not disappoint. I mean, from I can name, I mean, so many games: Finland versus United States, Canada versus Czechia, where Andre Palat, I thought he just sent Canada home, but he didn't. And then obviously the gold medal game. I mean, just oh my god. Obviously, proud American, take home the dub. It was not pretty at all. I mean, we were bad. I didn't think USA were great that much. I think it was more Canada was better, I should say. And Connor Hellebuck is the true American hero over Jack Hughes. I'll say it right here, right now.
Exactly. Do you think, and I want to put your Islander bias to the side here, if Matthew Schaefer was on Team Canada instead of Drew Doughty, Travis Sanheim, do you think Canada would have won the gold?
With my bias aside, honestly, he probably wouldn't have played that much.
Yeah, I can see that.
So I would say no if you just it's hard to say that's a hard question to answer, but I would say no. Just because I don't think they would play him. I think if he was gonna go, it was for more experience and he would play in the preliminary rounds. But I mean, unless he was unbelievable in those preliminary rounds, which is definitely possible with how Matthew Schaefer is. But I think most likely he wouldn't be playing in the finals, so I don't think it would change the finals.
Yeah, I can see that. The only way I think it would change the finals is if the if Canada was down late in the game and she forgot maybe that one shift was the final 5 minutes and maybe went for a push to carry it up the ice just to see what he's very good with the Islanders at just bringing it from the defensive zone to the offensive zone in 30 seconds and getting set up. Like you saw it against the Canadians. He pretty much down pretty much got the face off and put it right into his zone and figured it all himself. I don't think he would have been the difference maker, but I do think he would have been a big help to Canada offensively, at least to produce even more shots than what they had. Um, I also feel like Connor Hellebuck probably played one of his best games of his career, and he's usually terrible in the playoffs. So it's pretty shocking to see. Pretty shocking to see Connor Hellebuck do good in a very clutch game. Obviously, Jordan Binnington is always good in clutch scenarios. He played outstanding. And yeah, the Olympics are so fun. And the only thing I say is I think if they were to do something like the Olympics, like a four nations face off, I think they do it every 2 years. Because let's say they have the All Star game next year at UBS. They have the Four Nations face off again in 2028. They have the All Star game in 2029, and then they go back to the Olympics. I feel like if they have every other, they switch from best of the best, and then within one of the 4 years, there's the Olympics, and then the other one is the Four Nations, and then you have the two All Star games. I feel like that's a good balance because I feel like if we did best of best every year, people would love it, but maybe 5 7 years, people would kind of get a little. I don't want to say bored of it, just it would just get old really fast. I feel like because people would probably be like, "Oh, I want the All Star game back," and then the All Star game will come back for a couple years in a row, and then everybody will want Four Nations back. So I feel like if you had a balance where you switch every year, so people can, so fans can also experience the All Star game, even if it's in their like home arena, like we have it for the Islanders. I feel like people would miss out on that opportunity if the Four Nations face off went back to just Boston and Montreal every year.
I'm back. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened there, but I lost connection. But I'm back here. Yeah, I mean, I heard the end of what you're saying about the All Star game. I mean, yeah, I think it's just if it's at UBS, if it does actually happen at UBS Arena, that'd be great. But whatever. I mean, if it happens, it does whatever. But I think we should probably.
Think he could out there, but I, from what I was saying about the whole All Star game thing, I think yes, I love the Four Nations. I think I like it better than the All Star game, but it just takes away from the fact that the Islanders got the All Star game taken away, or fans got it taken away 2 years in a row, um, which sucks. So I just feel like if they just did it every other year, um, it would be a good balance for the league and for the fans and for the players. So and also players like a Schaefer, players like a Barzell can go into like an All Star game where they don't have to worry about not making the Canada or USA or Sweden or Finland.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you international hockey should be every other year at the very least, if not every 3 4 years. But what I will say is that I will say is that I think, of course, like you said, international hockey is way better than All Star game. But at the same time, All Star game should still be a thing. Which because I like the All Star game, unless Kucherov just is there not trying, then whatever. But um, but seriously, I think yeah, you keep the All Star game, international hockey every other year if that's what you want to do. But it shouldn't be every year because then that just takes away from the point of international hockey, which I think that makes it so special is that it's not, it doesn't happen every year. I think that's what in most sports, like international play isn't every year, so that makes it like the World Cup this year, like it's every 4 years, but international soccer is every other year, but uh the Euros, so it's every 2 years. So with the Euros and then World Cup. So I mean over that I think that's just what makes it so special. So I agree. All Star game and when there's no Olympics, All Star game and Four Nations should just keep going back and forth. I think. But it may, yeah, I mean, Four Nations was a big success for hockey. I mean, besides USA not winning, but I think honestly, USA winning gold was a huge for the growth of hockey here in America. So, but yeah, so the Olympics was definitely a success for, I mean, America. But
Yeah.
overall, Four Nations is a huge success for the NHL.
Um. Now I want to talk about after the Olympic break. So the Islanders went into the Olympic break. They're finishing. Let me see. They finished 3-1-0 in their going into the Olympic break, beating the Rangers back to back 5-2 and 2-1, losing to the Predators 4-3, losing to the Capitals 4-1, and then beating the Penguins in overtime, which was a huge win for the Islanders for the playoff seeding. But I have a feeling we're gonna play the Penguins in the first round anyway. And then now I want to go through each game: Islanders, Devils, Islanders, Canadians, Islanders, Blue Jackets, and Islanders, Panthers since coming back from the Olympic break. Oh no, we played the no, I don't know what I'm talking about. We also played the Devils in the Olympic before the Olympic break. We beat them 3-1. But now I want to talk about each game since the Olympic break, starting with the Islanders and Canadians. Do you have anything to say before we get into about the Islander Canadian game?
For me, I think that's really easily explained. Obviously Dobson got it going, and then with his two goals, and then Schaefer. got going with his 2 goals in like 55 seconds, something like that. I was at practice, so I didn't watch it. Unfortunately, I just missed it. I got off the ice. Ash Schaefer scored his second goal, so I just missed that. Um. So, but yeah, I mean that was really the first and second period. That's how you summarize the first and second period. Third period obviously gets a little wonky, like, but every game since coming back, we've been down to nothing, and we've come back. So, but you can keep going from there.
Yeah, I just feel like the Islanders played a solid game. I think the first period was definitely their worst period because they didn't really do much offensively. But then Schaefer really got them going in the second, and he's a player like we said for Canada. If he got that one goal or that one shot, that almost goes in the momentum builder. If he scores 2 goals, you get all the momentum, and then you give up a goal in the third, and then you bounce back and win it in overtime. I feel like Schaefer is the guy on our team who can come up big in clutch moments, and this is a perfect example of it. We were down two pretty late in the third. He comes up with the 2 goals to tie the game, and then we ended up winning 4-3 in overtime. So it was a Schaefer Dobson battle tonight. It would have been nice seeing that Schaefer hat trick, but I'm sure we'll get it someday. And then Islanders head to Columbus on Saturday with a 4-3 overtime win. If I'm going to be completely honest with you, I don't remember. I don't really remember anything from this game.
Oh yeah, I mean it was pretty boring early. I'm not even gonna lie. I had a hockey game that day, so I couldn't watch most of the game. But I mean, I watched the third period. I watched a lot of the game, but I was not paying attention because I was at a team dinner. But um, yeah, I mean, it was a pretty boring game, honestly. I mean, we are getting dominated. Uh, Strokin had a little bit of a bad start, but then Strokin really stepped up. I think, I mean, I thought Strokin was very good in Columbus overall. He had a little bit of a shaky start, but he really kept us in the game when it was 2-0. He made some big saves, and then, like I was talking about, I mean, Pajot and League ties the game, gets us back in the game. And obviously, I think it was then, and then eventually, I don't know, I forgot. There's so many 2-goal comebacks. All the games are the same, but eventually Mayfield scores. I know that, and then we get up a goal. I think that's how it went, and we go to overtime. And either way, we got the job done. It was a great play from Holmstrom, where I think needs more respect. He has been where he had a bad start to the season. He really is getting going, and he is just. I think he needs more respect. He's so underrated. He's another player where he steps up in the big moments. A lot of overtime winners, a lot of big shorthanded goals. Oh, he's a guy like Pajot, was similar to like a mini Pajot, younger Pajot. He's in a winger, I guess too, but he's a guy full 200-foot game. I think that's what people should realize is that when he's not scoring, he's also playing unbelievable, great defensively. He can kill penalties. He can do it all. So he can play on the power play, kill penalties. 5-on-5, he's excellent. 3-on-3, I mean, he scored a goal. He also assisted Pajot's goal the night in in Canada. So, and then obviously, so that those just two big wins. Then we go to Florida. Then we go back home for Florida. You want to talk about that?
I think the Columbus game, it was for how the score was, and it seemed that the Islanders bounced back again. It was a pretty boring game. The shots were 27-30 in favor of Columbus, and obviously Sorokin standing on his head like usual. Um, I feel like I know the Islanders have came back all these times, even the past 3 games, but I'm just a little worried that you keep giving up 2 goal leads, whether it's in the first period, first half of the game. I'm just worried that this is just going to continue going into the end game of the season. Because if this continues, yes, if they keep coming back from these uh, goal deficits of 2 or 3, then great. But I would rather them at least start out with the goal, get the momentum on their side, and make the other team come back. Because if we're the team coming back every single game, it's not going to work out for the playoffs, especially with teams wanting to win the Stanley Cup. Um, so hopefully that ends tomorrow against Anaheim. But the game against Florida is probably the complete opposite of boring. Um, They win 5-4 over the Florida Panthers. Um, I mean, this game was unbelievable. I mean, I personally think even though the Panthers had 33 shots, I thought this was honestly, in my opinion, Riddick's worst game of the season. The first goal from Vilmanis, he pretty much just lifted up his pad. And if he didn't lift up his pad, that's a save all day. And it stays 0-0. Sam Bennett makes it 2-0. I felt like it's a good shot, but I feel like I don't think he was screened that much. I'm actually going to watch it real quick just to double check myself. This and that. But I feel like 3 out of the 4 goals from Florida, I feel like could have easily been stopped. The second Sam Bennett goal to make it 3-2 could easily have been stopped. It was just a backhander blocker side. Let me see. There was nobody screening Riddick really, so I feel like Riddick saw it all the way. Um, and then Schaefer 1-0 off a weird goal, weird bounce. Obviously, we'll take anything. Downs will take anything. Carson Soucy is 5th of the season from Holmstrom and D'Angelo. Holmstrom loses the puck. That's the reason why Soucy even gets this puck. And then Sam Bennett makes it 3-2 from Matthew Tkachuk, his 22nd of the year. Backhanded to the net, I feel like could have been stopped. I don't know why Palat's the only one on defense on this play. And then Horvat, another weird one this game. Horvat is 25th from Schaefer. Schaefer with a three-point night, I believe. Yeah, 3-point night. Ties at 3, snuck it in from the corner. Matthew Schaefer again from Andre Palat. Palat's been assisting a lot on Schaefer's goals, it feels like. His 20th of the year, coming at the 10:29 mark, putting it 4-3 New York. Sam Reinhart, unbelievable shot by the point. I feel like this is the only goal that I feel like wasn't on Riddick. It was just a nice shot, a lot of traffic in front. And then obviously Lee with 30 seconds left, just putting in an absolute horse on his back and just striving it home to take the win. This game was a very unbelievable game by both teams, very fun to watch. And but I'm just worried about them keep going down goals and keep calling back because I don't want to see that every game.
Come back from Olympics, the Islanders. I feel like an all game started slow, but I definitely agree. Panthers, Riddick was not good. I mean, he helped to make a lot more entertaining, but he was not good. I thought 3 of the goals he probably 2 of the goals he should have saved, and 1 of the goal he could have saved, and another one I don't blame him on. But I mean, the whatever, but that game was so electric. I mean, Lee scoring with 30 seconds. I thought we are going back to overtime for back to back to back nights, but
Yeah.
Lee makes an electric play and wins it for us in regulation. I think that's huge. We don't have any regulation wins, so we take them when we can get them. But yeah, I think that'll do it for me. Gotta head off, but I appreciate you having me on. Hope to be back.
Of course, I'm 100% happy back. Thank you for joining me.
No problem. See you guys.
See ya. I will continue this for the next couple of minutes or so because I want to get some more things off here. The Islanders' upcoming games, obviously the next live, or because I'm trying to still experiment how I'm going to do these live streams. And not the live streams, the podcast. This is the first one. I think I'm going to try and start doing them where I can show stuff on my screen, and they won't be live streams. But I want to finish off here with the Islanders' upcoming games until next Tuesday, where the next podcast will be out. So the Islanders play the Ducks tomorrow at 10 p.m. Riddick in net for the Islanders. I wonder if anything happens between the next 24 hours before this game does go down. Whether the Islanders get somebody. I think if they do get somebody, the only way they play tomorrow is if the trade happened overnight. Obviously, I'm assuming Darche is in Anaheim in California for this road trip, so I'm sure. What is it? It's only 6:45 there right now, so something could definitely happen while everyone here in New York or wherever you're watching this is sleep. While everyone's sleeping, something could definitely happen between the Islanders, the Canucks, the Blues. The Islanders take on the Ducks at 10 p.m. Riddick and net. And then what's today? Today's Tuesday. Then on Thursday, the Islanders on a second half of back-to-back take on the Los Angeles Kings, who have recently acquired Artemi Panarin, but again, the Kings have not been great since getting Panarin. The Islanders play the Kings for the first time this season. Their second time will be on Friday, March 13th at UBS Arena. The Islanders have Ilya Sorokin in net for that game against the Kings on the second half of a back-to-back. Then the Islanders on Saturday I lost the game. And the Islanders on Saturday, March 7th at 10 p.m. will take on the San Jose Sharks. It's another game I feel the Islanders should win. The Islanders should beat the Ducks, they should beat the Kings, and they should beat the Sharks. That's not an easy, but that should be a good 6 points right there for the New York Islanders. If they go after this next 6 points, they go up big against the Blue Jackets, and hopefully the Blue Jackets and the Capitals, who lost tonight, will go on a little bit of a losing streak while the Islanders are in Cali. And then the final game before the next stream will be Tuesday, March 10th. Maybe I'll stream that game. Maybe we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll stream the Saturday game. We'll do a little bit of commentary. But that game is at 7:30. That is in St. Louis. So if anything happens between now and Friday regarding Robert Thomas or Jordan Kyrou, they will be returning to St. Louis on March 10th. And then we'll continue on. The Islanders don't have a game till Friday, March 13th against the Kings at UBS Arena. Hopefully this live stream went well. Hopefully people stay for a little bit. I know I'm a new YouTuber and stuff, so I'm kind of new to this. So hopefully this boosts me up a little bit. But let's hope the Islanders can get a couple wins within the next couple of nights in California as they start the road trip tomorrow against the Ducks. We'll see if anything happens overnight regarding the New York Islanders. If not, we'll see what happens Thursday and Friday. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Next week episode, it was Tuesday. Obviously, there's no time stamp of when that comes out, but it will be on Tuesday. Thank you Connor for joining me. Thank you everyone for watching this. It will be posted on YouTube, so if you want to rewatch it or tell your friends or anything to watch it, that would be amazing. I will see you guys for the next one. See you, everybody.